Hello there, Capricorn, and welcome to your monthly reading. This is for the month of September. Really great to see everybody. I hope that this month is getting off to a fantastic start, and I'd like to begin by welcoming all my return viewers. Without you, none of this would be possible, and I really appreciate, most importantly, all the work you continue to do on yourself. You inspire me, and I just want to say thank you. And for anybody that is brand new, I'd also like to introduce myself in case you haven't been here before. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. The way that I organize readings every month is as follows. I like to begin with raw intuition. So this is what I call the channeled message. I connect with my own guides, with my own higher self, and then bring through whatever I'm feeling, hearing, and seeing for the month ahead. After that, I choose a deck of cards and lay out a Celtic cross. And this really helps me see all of the high points, all of the challenges, and everything in between. And because this is very organic, I make sure then to spotlight some specific areas that I know all of you care about. This includes health, wealth, love, and destiny. After this, then I like to do a nice review of everything and a closing word for you. So I hope that you enjoy what I present today, and if you do, please do stick around until that end portion, because at that point I'll also give you some information on how you can give back. Everything you see here is viewer supported, so whenever you like, subscribe, or share, it means a lot. You can also connect with me if you'd like a one-on-one, and I also have a page on my website where I allow you to become a patron of the channel if you would like to as well. This can include anything from a one-time contribution to joining me on Patreon to also now becoming a member of the channel. So at the end, I'll get into all the specifics on how you can do this, but right here, right now, I know that you really want to hear about September, so let's talk about your channeled information for this month. As I selected a deck of cards and began to meditate, what came through to me, because I'm a gardener, if you haven't seen my Instagram feed, I love plants, I love nature. I was seeing something grow. I was actually paying attention to the growth that was happening beneath the soil. It was like a little seedling. And what I realized for your sign this month, the message would be is that basically you are going through some changes and some shifts energetically, and also I would say even internally, but these aren't all going to be seen on the surface. So whether you are growing spiritually, doing some healing, or maybe you are working to change your body, working out, eating differently, all of this stuff, all of this wonderful work that you're doing to shift your perspective, it's happening below the surface. And what I want to convey to you this month is not to give up on that, because sometimes it's that subtle change, the gentle shifts that are happening within our body, within our consciousness, and also energetically that we don't perceive. But then 2 or 3 months down the line, when some of these changes start to take effect, all of a sudden you realize that's why it's happening so quickly. It's because you're working really hard on making the necessary changes right now. If there's anything going on that's frustrating you as well, this could be an external stress. This could just be the progress and that it's feeling slower than you'd like, for instance. I'm encouraging you to not give up. If you want to change something, this is the perfect month to do it. I've seen this in several other signs that basically the seeds that you're putting into the soil right now, metaphorically speaking, they're going to grow over the course of the next 3 months and definitely over the course of the next year. So the question for you is, what are you trying to create in your life? And something that I've been also conveying to other signs this month is don't worry about where you're at right now. Focus on where you want to be and make that your intention right now. Make today, make tomorrow, make the rest of this month count in that respect. This is where you're going to be successful. This is where you're going to turn a corner. And this is how you make 2020 an amazing year. So I just want to show you what I wrote here again. Subtle growth and development. It's all happening within. It may not be showing up externally. That doesn't mean you're not making a change. That doesn't mean you're not progressing. I sensed that shift. I saw the movement. And what I saw was you were putting roots into the soil. So when we're talking about your own life, you're creating something now that's going to sustain and help and assist you in the months, years, and decades to come. So this is a very, very powerful month. Don't let this opportunity to really, create some momentum slip away, okay? As we look at the cards next, I'm going to further elaborate on this and also see what additional insights come through. I just want to remind you that as I turn the camera down and lay out all of these cards, I'm going to remain quiet. I like to observe not only the cards and the placements, but also I receive information as I do that. So right after everything has been laid out, I'll turn the camera back up and we'll discuss each card one by one and relate it to all of the messages and insights for the month of September for your sign. In the catalyst position, we have the eagle as your animal totem, and what this is representing is normally very clear vision, a lot of strength, power, something that someone would look up to. The reversal of this particular card, the first thing that came to mind actually was that you are too close to a situation or a relationship to see it clearly. And what's required is distance, perspective, and putting yourself in the other person's shoes. So you may be sort of in the middle of an argument, or there may be a really big decision and you have too much to gain or lose to really think clearly and to weigh out all of the options. So talking to some other people, doing some research, and again, giving yourself a little bit of distance so that you're not maybe agitated by whatever the task at hand is. This is going to be really, really important because basically this is almost like the equivalent maybe of the Two of Swords. You're missing something big, you're not really seeing the opportunities in front of yourself, or even like the Eight of Swords. So if you step back, if you look at it from a different point of view, you can make a decision. Now, as I look at this card, there's actually two additional points of view that I want to talk about. The first message really centers on how much you want something and the fact that I feel like the grip is a little bit too tight. And the best way to allow for a love interest to come into your life, a project or an opportunity, even sort of advancement at work, whatever this dream or goal is to have a little bit of a healthy sense of detachment. There's a little bit, for some of you, it feels like you're pulling it in too much. So if you take a deep breath, release it a little bit, and just like this eagle in the upright position, gain some perspective, spread your wings a little bit, and really allow for everything to breathe, even this dream, then things are going to be better. The last thing that I'm seeing with this card has to do with a change of direction. We see the eagle sort of flipping upside down, and I think some of you are ready to make sort of this right angle turn in your life and try something brand new. I want you to make sure that you have everything organized and you've thought everything through, because the way that this card is situated, it looks like you could be sort of not completely balanced in that decision. So going back to what we said earlier, I think that time, distance, and really allowing for consideration of all options in front of you is what's necessary. And then if you decide to move forward, great. just sleep on your decision a little bit and make sure that it's not being made because of boredom, fear, frustration, anxiety, or just because you want to make it happen right now. I think that sometimes it's good to take a leap of faith, but this comes through very much with the sort of cautionary notes that I would see with the Fool, which is it's always better to know what you're getting into before jumping headfirst, okay? Let's go ahead now and take a look at each and every card within the Celtic Cross. At the center of the spread, we have the Knight of Cups in reverse. I love the Knight of Cups because when it's in the upright position, this really indicates that your passion, your personality, also your creativity are very attractive forces. They're going to bring in positive opportunities. They're going to engage people. This can come across very much as a charisma card as well. Plus, new love, new opportunities. Everything about it is great. When the reversal is apparent here in the spread, what I would say is you want to be careful with going too far with emotions. So another cup that's very similar to this would be the Nine of Cups. So both the Knight and the Nine, when they're reversed, can show what could sometimes be seen as unpredictable kind of variations in your day-to-day sort of emotions. And this can be brought about by stress, by any sort of depression, or even just sort of shifts that are going on hormonally in your body. So you want to take care of things this month and make sure that nutrition, rest, and again, anything that you might be feeling that's setting things off, that you take care of that you work with a doctor, or you're just being kind to your body this month. The other thing is, if you are really tied to something emotionally, and this could be also heightened by like a loss in your life or new love that's come in that's kind of made your chemicals in your brain not focus on the things that you normally have, focus on. You want to be careful and just kind of catch your balance. And it reminds me of a line in like Practical Magic where where the one character is talking to her niece about what it feels like to fall in love, and she's saying it's like when you spin round and round and round and you can get kind of dizzy. This is the lovesick energy that I'm seeing in this particular card. So for some of you, if you've just met someone or if you just started something that you're really passionate about, it could also be, again, like, something creative, an endeavor. I think you could get lost in it. And this is what I'm also seeing here in the Eagle, was that the direction seems off a little bit and you just need a second to course correct and set some intention with what you're trying to do. But on the bright side, there is passion, there is excitement. And I think as long as you keep your wits about yourself, this is a great card, okay? Crossing this, we have what I was talking about. We have the Nine of Pentacles, which is regarding work, resources, money. It's a good card. For those of you that are single and happy, this is showing development with respect to your career, with your money, and with being self-sufficient. I really like this associated with business and wealth. I think you're one of the few signs this month that has a very, very positive and stable card with money right at the center. So that's what's interesting when we look at the Knight of Cups in conjunction with that. And I think you might have a little bit of challenge with work-life balance. So sometimes when you even aren't looking for someone, they could be coming in, because that's a very business-minded card. And those of you that have been focusing a lot on, going to school or saving your money or trying to kind of climb up the corporate ladder or whatever is going on sort of in your professional or personal goals, it feels like you're achieving a lot of that, and just for the heck of it, the universe is throwing in a curveball. And it could either be new love or a challenge with an existing family member or relationship. So you'll find a way to strike the balance. We talked a lot about how the Eagle can help you with that. Distance, perspective, and all of that, and I think you'll be able to bring it into focus. Otherwise, I actually see really good things with the two of these cards, and some of you may decide to just channel that passion into work, and there's nothing wrong with that. All right, let's go ahead now and look at the rest of the cards. There are so many Cups cards that came through this month. I definitely think emotions are going to play an important part, as is your connections with your friends and your family. So looking at deep past, I see now two of the same suit, which can show love, romance, or a very intimate relationship that's going to play a key component or a key part in this in the spread this month. So we have the King of Cups in reverse. And in many ways, you and your partner are kind of both highly emotional. For those of you that are either in an existing relationship, have met somebody new that you're romantically interested in, or maybe it's just a really good friendship. So I would say be careful, because what's lacking from this sort of union is grounding. So I love that the two of you have a lot in common. Just make sure that there's somebody in your friend group that can check you, or if there's something that you're planning to do this month, that you just take your time and don't get carried away. That being said, I'm seeing something that for many of you can show an elopement, or a trip that you're planning on the fly, or some sort of surprise party. And it looks to me like it's very much something that you're just going to do anyway, but I'm going to highlight what's going on here. Crowning card, 10 of Cups, the Fool in the near future, and then the Lovers reversed here in the Ego. And not only that, but we have the Tower in the environment. So this is something that the Tower is the element of surprise. The Fool is a party or a celebration, and it's also doing something with kind of a wink and a nod, like you really want to catch someone off guard. And the 10 of Cups means you're doing it with love. And it could be a way to propose, it could be a surprise party, it could be a reunion, it could be something. It actually feels very joyful to me. Sometimes the Tower, especially when it's in the environment, just shows that there's commotion, right? So this is not a bad thing if you're doing it. I just want you to plan everything out and make sure that you're not stressed, and make sure that that person really wants the party. But I do feel like, although unexpected, it will come through in an okay way. So if you're planning on doing that, good luck with the sort of organizing it. It looks great. I'm going to break this down in some other ways too. I'm going to look at each of the cards. But the first thing that I saw when I looked at this was some element of surprise, someone that you love, and it's going to be joyful. And it sounds like you're going to do it anyway. So I'm not worried about resources because you have them. So have fun with that, okay? But with both the King of Cups and the Knight of Cups reversed, there could just be a really difficult situation going on with a close friend or family member, and it's affecting both of you. In this case, reach out to friends and family, because that crowning card also indicates that there is so much support around you that you are not alone, and you'll be able to get your footing when you talk to a loved one. I actually have the High Priest, which can come through as a father figure or a mentor. They're here for you, and that's in Hopes, Fears, and Possibilities. They're kind of waiting to hear from you. As we look at your recent past, we have the Seven of Cups, which is you thinking, do I want to do this? And so there's so much about this that is either you deciding to go after something that you really, really want or love. So this could be a proposal. This could also be a decision to start something new, like a business, or to ask someone to join in with you on a partnership. Because the Lovers definitely is a partner card, but you're afraid with this card reversed, like, do they want to do this? And it's a big change, whatever this union is going to be. So whether it's business, personal, or marriage, some really big changes and some really big shifting that's going on in your life. 10 of Cups. This is a domestic bliss card. I love it, actually. And what it's showing is that no matter how you decide to spend your time and energy this month, it feels like community and networking. It's really in your wheelhouse this particular month in September. So I would encourage you to really try to bank on this and capitalize. So if you are like a small business person, then this means that you should be marketing, throwing special events, and going to any sort of trade shows that come through on the calendar. This is your time to meet people, to connect, and really to shine. If you're trying to meet someone, if you're single and looking, this is a really exciting month because, and I think some of you might decide to take a trip, and in that trip, that's where you could, or on that trip rather, that's when you could meet someone. But just getting out and about is going to be really, really important because I see some really good connections coming through with that, okay? The 10 of Cups, all of these Cups cards, I'm going to say the only thing that I want you to focus on is not going too far, because what I do see is that if you are partying a lot, or if you are putting a lot of energy into events and basically not taking care of yourself, the Tower can show that it's going to catch up with you eventually in one way, shape, or form. So definitely pace yourself, take it easy, and just don't overdo things, and I think you'll be okay. As I look at near future, as I said, this is a great month for many of you to connect on a sort of grassroots level to your customers, to your friends as well. You might decide to do something really simple and fun, like just meeting up around town. The Fool card is a very pedestrian card in that you could literally be taking a hike or a walk or some sort of movement by foot. And I think that's going to be really restorative for you because, I was talking about needing to be grounded. If you're feeling stressed out at work or in a relationship where there's sort of a heated moment with you and a friend, do yourself a favor and take a break and just say, let's regroup. I need to just get some fresh air. And that's going to help you collect your thoughts and hopefully make your mind up. As I look at the Lovers in reverse in the Ego this month, there needs to be some sense of balance and also priority when it comes to where relationships fall in your overall purpose and your overall goals. Some of you may be deciding that this isn't what you want because it's reverse. Some of you are deciding to invest a little bit more in it. Or there could be a person in your life that's causing a little bit of chaos, as I saw, because this is attached to the Tower. And the Tower is a destabilizing force or is something that you're not comfortable with that's requiring a little bit more understanding on your part. And also, I think for you, it could be making sure that you're setting clear expectations that if you need to step back a little bit or if you need the other person to give you some space, that's also happening. But the Tower can be exciting because it could be a joint venture that's going to change your life. I just think that you have to take your time and don't get caught up in everything this month because you just don't want to sort of, if we look at both of these cards, this shows people falling, this shows someone, upside down here, or the energy of the eagle is upside down. So I want you to just make sure that you're not losing perspective and not making a misstep this month, because that's coming through symbolically and it's kind of slapping me over the face with both of those images. So I think it's really important to pay attention to that. I will say this, I'm looking at cards here that for some of you, if you're taking medication, can indicate an interaction that could cause a loss of balance or focus or attention, which could be potentially dangerous while you're walking, operating any sort of vehicle, or even riding a bike. So if you're feeling a sense of dizziness because of antidepressant medication or some other sort of blood pressure medication, you need to talk to your doctor to get the dosage correct. And you might also just need to focus on how much you're eating and when you're taking the medicine, because I'm getting a lot of cards here that can show interactions and lack of balance. So if that makes sense for you, then definitely talk to a professional, because it's important to make sure that you don't put yourself in harm's way. And the other thing with this is, I think, as I was talking about sort of feeling lovesick or feeling sort of caught up in the moment, that could also be happening. I just get this sense of dizziness or nausea, wooziness, whatever you want to call it, vertigo for some of you. And if that's not something that you normally feel, you need to talk to someone. And even if that is something that you're feeling normally, you need to still talk to somebody. So just practice good self-care this month. And definitely, if you haven't had a physical, this is a good month to make sure that you do that, because the Tower is showing that there's probably some changes that you can do to be healthier, happier, and more stable in your life. As we look at hope, fears, and opportunity, we have the High Priest. And this is basically just another word for the Hierophant card. I actually like this card. This is the one thing that is bringing some order to this month. And I think for you, because this is attached to the moon, which we'll talk about in a second, the most challenging part of this month is going to be like the first 10 days. And it feels like as you get to the midpoint, you start to catch your stride, you start to feel a little bit more balanced. And I think this is when the energy of the High Priest enters in. And this is when you're going to start to, make some plans, feel like you understand what it is you're doing again. And if you're moving, or if you're, creating some sort of change, this is when the dust settles. So by the midpoint of the month, it feels like everything is looking good for you. And I'm also seeing a really strong mentor, assistant, helper, doctor that's there and available for you. So definitely reach out to that person. They're waiting for you. They're not going to come to you, though. They basically want to see you kind of step up and ask them for help, because they seem a little bit hands-off, and that's actually a good thing, because there's not this micromanagement or sort of like helicopter mom or dad energy around them at all. Your outcome card is really interesting, and I think I spotlighted it earlier. If I didn't, we're going to talk about it right now. The Moon card comes through when there is something that you have to sort of work out or work through. Sometimes it can indicate an illusion, something that looks one way, but by the end of the month, you see the person, place, or thing for its true colors, and that's the gift of the moon. It can be a card of honesty and territorial energy. So there could be someone in your midst that is having a difficult time being, completely truthful or honest with you. It's going to catch up with them at the end of the month. And if there's something that you need to come clean with, better to do it sooner than later, because you don't want this to get around sort of word of mouth to whoever it is that you have to talk to. It's just better to have a heart-to-heart, especially with all of the cups cards that I'm seeing. The two court cards, the 7 of cups, the 10 of cups. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of people. So what goes around comes around. So try to resolve any issues that are kind of popping up with honesty or with, as I said earlier, it can be jealousy or territorial energy as well. So if there's someone that you just are wondering, like, can I be with them? Should I trust them? Are they doing something wrong? You need to kind of evaluate why those feelings of trust or jealousy or trying to sort of stay in your lane and them staying in their lane, why this is coming through, and also resolve that. Is that you? Is that them? This will reveal itself this month, but I think the more transparent and honest that you can be with them, the better it's going to kind of factor out. Also, I'm just seeing a really strong energy of cups coming through. So water is all over the place this month. I think you're definitely interacting with some creative energy, some emotional energy, and potentially a water sign. And so if you're looking for love, yeah, I see it coming through this month for those of you that are single and looking. The Lovers is right there in the ego, and we've got a lot of court cards that can represent that. Plus we have that blissful 10 of cups. I'm just gonna, again, say be careful, take your time, even though you might want to go to Vegas and elope. With the moon card, it's saying you need to get to know this person a little bit more. You don't want to have regrets. And I think that's what the pacing is about. Enjoy this. This doesn't come along all the time for those of you that are single and looking. For those of you in a relationship, the moon card means that there is something that needs to be worked out with your partner. And again, it usually has to do with learning something that they were trying to keep from you or that they were afraid to talk about. And if you have something like that, you have to resolve that. If you're single and happy, I just see a lot of creative energy and emotional energy. And the main thing for you is, where are you going to channel it? And that's why we have the sort of disruptive card here in the Tower coming through. Once you have something that you can put this energy into, awesome. But be prepared, you may be swept off your feet with all of these cups cards. So single and happy, sometimes the universe is saying, are you sure? And you can decide what your answer is this month. To that end, let's go ahead now and expand the forecast. We're going to look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Beginning with health, all of these cards are multifaceted, but particularly health. And more often than not, when I look at health, it has more to do with emotional state, your physical sort of chakra fields, not necessarily what's going on in your body. So what we have here is the Angel of Balance. And this really is about work-life balance, a balanced appetite and diet. And also, as I said, if you're taking any sort of medications and they're putting you off balance, something that is definitely inherent to the Tower card, then you need to make sure that that vertigo or wooziness or nausea or balance issue is worked out. The other thing with this, you might as well call this card Temperance. It's basically saying you don't want to go to extremes this month. As long as everything's in moderation, you should be fine. But with cards like the 10 of Cups, indicating celebrations and having a lot of fun, 10 of Cups, 9 of Cups, 3 of Cups, you don't want to go overboard, okay? So enough said with health. Let's go ahead. Actually, I want to look at one other thing here with health. With the Moon card, if you are looking to have a child, this can show that timing could be off, something I've seen across a few signs actually this month, so that's curious, but you may need some assistance. And the High Priest can also show that you are sitting too much. So those of you that might be feeling sort of energy or issues or blockages in the lower back, this is showing a need to get out and to move a little bit more than you're doing right now. All right, let's go ahead and move along to wealth. This isn't just money. This is how you feel about yourself, your self-worth, how you're approaching projects and opportunities in your life, and how that's going to make you happier and bring in more abundance. So it says you're not alone, and amen to that. But there's a feeling of isolation because this card is reversed. And for some of you, you could be pulling away from this beautiful support team or support staff that I'm seeing here at the top. So whether this is friends or colleagues or some new people that are coming into your life, I see that, there's a lot of love and a lot of interest in you this month. The question is, why are you pulling back? Is it just that you're shy, or is it that it feels like you just can't concentrate? This could be a matter of, if this is the first time you've moved in with a roommate, or you've gone off to college, or even if you're a senior and maybe, you've had time away from your partner because they've passed away and now there's someone new coming into your life, it feels disruptive. And it's sort of like, I liked my space, I liked my my time, and now I have to get used to being with someone else. So take your time, and the moon card is about deciding where those boundaries are as well. I'm not seeing it in this particular illustration, but normally there's a dog and there's a wolf, showing that there is this delineation between you and someone else, and one is very sort of trained in a certain way and the other one sort of is wild and free. So if you're that, free spirit, then let your partner know that you need your time and your space, okay? Now I'm looking here at your love card, and the interesting thing here is that I see a playful energy coming in. Now, these are oracle cards, so sometimes I also see what would be the tarot equivalent. We'll talk about that. So in love, we have children, and it says your love life is being affected by children. This means it's reverse, which means it may be unexpected or unwanted. So maybe you've met a partner and they're, divorced, or they've adopted a child on their own, and this brings a new element into your life. You could also be adopting a pet, and there's new energy that's coming in. Or there is just simply the note, if we could kind of abstract this and look at Six of Cups energy. This could be a reunion with someone from your past, or simply a note that if you could have fun, be playful, and have more of a sense of humor about yourself and your relationships, that playfulness is going to create this richer, deeper sense of intimacy, where I think actually that you can overcome the energy that we saw in the moon. So there's, for many of you, going to be, a celebration or event that comes through this month. Try to just go with the flow, have fun, laugh at yourself, laugh at other people, and not in a way that is mean, but just sort of have fun like we would when we're a kid, without holding on to grudges or the energy and making it too serious. I think that's going to be really important this month. It's going to help you heal, and you're going to have a much better time in the process. All right, now let's take a look at your destiny card. Destiny, by the way, is not set in stone. It's not like coming down the mountain, looking at tablets and saying, this is how it is. The way that destiny functions in this particular spread is that it's really a GPS to align you to where you're headed, and you, as a sentient being, make choices and decide, do I like that path? So this is your free will card, and it says honor and trust your feelings, and what you want to do this month is not second guess yourself, because this card was reversed. So I think this has everything to do with what we see in the moon here. And I want to highlight that the moon is reflected light, and one of the symbols of this card is that sometimes what we think we see is just a reflection of our fear or our hope, or a projection of how we think things will end up. Have you ever rehearsed something like some sort of important announcement? It could be literally a coming out, it could be quitting from a job, it could be something really exciting that you want to share. It could be the proposal. And you go through this 100 times in your head, and by the time you actually have the conversation, it's either so much less stressful, or maybe there's a curveball and it ends up being, wilder than you thought. But my point being here is that don't spend too much time spinning your wheels about how this is going to be. Just kind of think through your main talking points and then get into that conversation at a certain point, because you can literally think yourself down this rabbit hole and it's not going to help you. Usually things turn out better than you think. The moon is upright, and that actually indicates that you don't have a lot to worry about. We also see the high priest, which means you're having clear thoughts when you enter into that conversation. I think the latter part of the month is fantastic for delving into sort of issues of fear or anxiety, and I think you're going to be able to resolve it, especially with the crowning card being the Ten of Cups. You have great energy this month. I have to say, this is one of the lightest and brightest spreads that I've seen. Yes, there is some significant shifts with the Tower, but overall, most of what I see is going to really portend well for you. It bodes well for the month ahead. So let me go ahead and review everything that we talked about, and then I'll leave you with your closing word. Your channeled message this month was that growth is happening beneath the surface. So a lot of you might be shifting the way you feel. You might be working on actually going back to school, or you might be doing psychic development or intuitive development. Allow for these things to happen in their own time. You can't rush it. And a lot of times you don't necessarily see the benefits of the work that you're doing right here and right now, but you definitely will as the months and weeks progress. So keep up with what you're doing. As we look at your catalyst card this month, it's important for you to regain your footing, to allow for some distance, some perspective, some additional insight to come through before you make a big decision. It's also showing that some events could be coming through this month that really take you by surprise. It could be someone else that's throwing a party or kind of hitting you with news that was unexpected. So give yourself the time to sort of make the decision before you jump into it. I think that that's really important. As we go into the center here, we have the Knight of Cups, and it's paired up with the King of Cups. A lot of times, two of the same suit indicate love, marriage, or blood relationship that is coming through with a lot of intense energy, especially when we have the 10 of Cups, the 7 of Cups, and the Fool all around it. So I feel like when you're looking at your work and your personal life, there's definitely a need to bring it into balance, because we have a 9 of Pentacles card that's touching all of these sort of friends, family, and community cards. And for some of you, there's a chance to move. And if you've just married someone, or if there's a new opportunity, I see a move associated with that. So there's a sacrifice for one party or the other. Make sure that it's okay, though. That's what we see with the moon. If there is something like a proposal or a surprise party, the same thing is true. Just make sure that it's not such a surprise, or it's not so off-putting that the person is trying to figure out, like, why did this happen? So take your time, plan everything out, and then ultimately when it's time to do it, yeah, it's going to be a surprise. I can see that. Let's look at each one of these again one more time, just in respect to you. King of Cups in reverse, showing that for some of you, you really want to get your emotions in check this month. I think some of you might actually be looking at diet or medication to assist with this. Remember, though, if you're not feeling stable in that, it's time to talk to your doctor, especially if there's an issue of vertigo or balance. 7 of Cups is a card of exploring options. And for some of you, you could be deciding, do I want to stay in this job? Do I want to stay in this particular college or university? Is there something that I want to do for my personal development? Because the 9 of Pentacles is really how and where you're spending that time. And whatever suits you well is okay here. It feels like you've planned things out when it comes to money. That's the least of my worries this month. It's more about your emotions, the change that you're making, and that you've really decided that it's okay. And then also sort of being honest. Those are the key things that are coming through. I'm not worried about money and resources for most of you. With 7 of Cups, you don't want to overthink things. That's the one thing that I'll say with that. Sometimes you can get lost in thoughts. So, once you've done your research, once you've slept on it, it's important then to sort of make that movement and make the change happen when you're ready. 10 of Cups, marriage, friendship. It can also be parties and networking. Whatever your sort of situation is, I see that there is definitely a lot of interest in you this month, and it's sort of a decision on how active you want to be and who you want to connect with. If it is business related, I see a lot of new customers, and I see a lot of possibly even free marketing coming through. There's some grassroots energy with the Fool as well, which is saying some of you might be interested in just getting out and meeting your customers. It's also a very social card, and it says sometimes that less is more. You don't have to take an expensive vacation or be very elaborate. The Fool is very, very spur of the moment. So if you're thinking of someone and you want to spend some time, I think you're going to get interest in that. The Lovers here is about longing to be with someone. For some of you, you're going to find that person. A lot of strong water energy coming through this month, so you could find a water sign. For the rest of you, this is sort of a question of how love is going to play into all of the changes going on in your life, because you do need to create some balance, some boundaries, and to sort of get your bearings again. And if you've met somebody brand new, or if you've been sort of single for a long time and now there's someone coming into your life, I also see that this could be off-putting. That's really all of these cards together. The Moon is territorial, the High Priest is set in his or her ways, the Tower is off-center a little bit, and then the Lover's reverse is sort of an unexpected card. So all of this is showing that sometimes when you get what you want, it's still difficult to deal with. So just give yourself time. Remember what I was seeing with roots going through. It takes time for those roots to really take hold. So whether you're starting a new job, a new relationship, something brand new in your life, like even a course of study, you need to get used to it. This is all brand new and fresh, and it's not going to feel perfect overnight. Making changes, that's one thing that's really great with the Tower. It's a foundational card, and it gives you a chance to basically hit Control-Alt-Delete and create a brand new sort of cement foundation in your life. So if you're trying to start fresh, good time to do that. I really feel like the latter part of this month is where you're going to find your stride. And whatever you were afraid of, at that point, I think you're also at a point where you can really speak your mind without having the emotions or the overthinking kind of play into that. In the expanded forecast, balance, balance, balance. That's what we're seeing in health. Balance with friendships, with work, with life, with your personal life, with your money, with any sort of medication you might be taking. Basically everything in moderation. This is the equivalent of temperance. When we look at wealth, I feel like many of you are going to be partnering up to be successful. You are not alone. Shows that maybe you are used to working on your own, like the High Priest, but the Ten of Cups is saying, hey, it's time to actually connect. The Fool is showing that this would be a risk that's worthwhile, and even if it means reorganizing a little bit, this is based in partnership and love, and the High Priest brings order to that. So I feel like it is a good month for creating a business or for starting something fresh in that perspective, but it may be a little bit more overwhelming than you think. One of the ways that you can improve all relationships, including those business partnerships, is by having playful energy. When I see a children-based card here, it reminds me of the Six of Cups, which is really finding a way to relate to somebody. It could be through a party, some sort of off-site event, and if it's a love interest in your life, it can also be about just going back to the things that you liked as kids, and this might even be a friend from the past. Children could also be playing a part in your life. Maybe you've met someone and they want to have a child. The Moon card is often there when your partner is kind of getting that maternal or paternal instinct and wanting to start a family. The fact that it's reversed means that you're taking pause on that and you're not sure if you're ready, or vice versa. Maybe you want it and you're not sure if your partner wants it. So try to be patient with this and have that honest conversation. Finally, we have honor and trust your feelings. This is in the destiny space. And this is going hand in hand with what we see in the Moon. If you can approach hopes, fears, and anxieties with a sense of being grounded, with knowing that if you can express this with an intimate partner, then you can actually overcome these fears, and you have a friend and also someone here who can support you, then it's not going to scare you as much. This can only bring you closer if you are honest about those types of things. There is an encouragement this month that it's the right time to bring these things up. Because if you can't trust who you're with, then this is the litmus test that's going to help you decide, is this thing for real? Is this friendship going to last? Is this business partnership meant to be? And if you're going to marry someone, or if you're already married to someone, will this relationship stand the test of time? So you will find that out this month, but the fact that the Moon card is upright does portend good things, and the same thing with the Ten of Cups. So I feel like once you know what you're looking for and what you want to say, the other person is going to be very ready and open to that communication. That brings your monthly reading to a close. I hope that you got exactly what you needed to help navigate all the highs and the lows of this month. And I honestly don't really believe in lows. I think that there are triggers and challenges. And as we talk about all of the things that we just saw here in the Celtic Cross, hopefully that gave you some insight on how to approach those challenges. But if there's ever something that comes through you want to discuss in a greater depth than I can in 45 minutes or so, then feel free to reach out to me. The way that you can book an appointment if you're interested is to click on the first card or the first link right below the video, and this will take you to my booking site, and you can check out my rates, my availability, and if you're interested, then I look forward to talking to you. If you would simply like to support the content that you see here and you enjoyed the reading, the way that you can give back is by clicking on the second card or the second link. This takes you to a page on my site that talks all about becoming a patron, and there's many, many ways that you can do that. Anything from just connecting with me on PayPal and doing a one-time contribution of something like $1, or you can join me on Patreon, or even here now you can click the join button and become a member of this channel, which sets up a sustaining contribution. These contributions go directly into production equipment like the lighting here. They go into allowing me to buy cards, and most importantly, they allow me to set up time on my calendar. Each and every reading takes about a day to produce and edit. And when you provide more contributions, I have more time to produce it. And on months that I receive more contributions, I can get the readings out earlier, so it's a win-win for both of us. So if you would like to support the next round, then please click on that second card and second link and pick a way that makes sense for you. If you've done it in the past, thank you so much. This month was made possible by you. The final way that you can give back requires nothing more than a few clicks, so I hope you can do this. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, please do that right now. You can also click the bell icon to get an email whenever I upload new videos, and this is a really great way to hear about new content. And I know that's probably the most frequently asked question is, when are you posting new videos? So click that bell and you'll never have to ask that again. You'll get a fresh email anytime I do an upload. The other way that you can stay up to date is by clicking the third card and third link. This will take you to a page on my website where you can connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also sign up for my newsletter. And I'd love for you to go a step further after that, and if you really want to make a difference, then share what you see here on your feed. You can either retweet one of my tweets, or you can share something from Instagram in a story, or Facebook on your own sort of feed. And by doing this, that like, share, and subscribe, it really makes an impact. It helps with discovery of this channel, and it helps me reach more people. My goal on this planet, my goal with what I'm doing here is to create intelligent conversations around spirituality, to let people know that they're not alone, to give them the tools that they need not only to enhance their own intuition, but also walk through this planet in a way that allows them to be awake, empowered, and hopefully happier. So a simple share does a lot when you do that. So I just want to say thank you for doing that. Let's go ahead now and leave you with your closing word this month. I really do think the overarching theme is about balance and creating something new, because we have two cards that directly speak to a sort of imbalance here. The Eagle card reverse, which is showing that you're going to have to do sort of like a change of course. The Tower card, which is literally taking a foundation and rebuilding it. And then as we look at your health card, finding the balance that you need. So a lot of different aspects of your personality, your life, your environment are apt to change this month. You might be picking up and moving. You might be moving in or moving out. So moving out of a place, moving out of a relationship, or moving into a relationship. Something is going on with love and with location, and I think that it's exciting for you because change helps you grow. Ultimately, you are going to be in a place of feeling more stable and more powerful towards the end of the month because we have the High Priest here. So stay true to your vision, as we saw with this last card. Really know that what you're feeling and what you're being guided to do, it makes sense, and I think you're on the right track, okay? Thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of your journey. You have a lot of choices, both in life and also here on YouTube, so it's very humbling, and it really does honor me that you decided to spend this time with me. I wish you the best between now and the next time we meet, hopefully next month. In the meantime, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I'll see you real soon.